Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Saturday evening of the seernova Comic-Con of the year 2024. Where we last left off last night was apparently the Jade Palace is condemned, and that's an interesting puzzle that we will have to get into that was laid at Joe Monkey's feet, along with the appearance of his wife. What is her name again?
Annie.
Annie. Okay, I wanted to say Abigail, but I didn't think that was right. So Annie Monkey. And then Carver is currently laying in a puddle of his own blood and bleed. So where we will pick up at seems appropriately to pick up starting with Joe Monkey. So you are sitting in a rundown restaurant that you had thought was around all along, and your wife is now standing in front of you.
Yeah, I don't believe that this is actually real. Like, there's no way I can think that it's just that easy. Like, I want to spot lies or something, like what's actually going on if it's a
Do you have a
thing.
read roll?
I do.
Okay, let's make a read roll.
Read.
Interesting. Real page turner.
Okay.
Here you go.
Gilded.
My whole question is his wife okay?
We'll see.
You've been hit by. You've been struck by.
Trunk.
4 5s.
4 5s?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna burn resistance. Why not? I want to get to 6.
What?
But I'm gonna leave 1 5 so that I can pick it up if I need to.
Okay, I like it.
Come on, 6! No! I'll make a 5.
Okay, so you're going to go with the 5.
Yes.
So this is as real of any moment you've ever been in. Annie is standing in front of you, and yes, she is okay.
There's a lot to process.
Yeah, so what has been going on every time you guys have met at the Jade Palace? Like, because obviously you guys have been fooled this whole time.
I think Alan's been doing something to us.
I'm gonna keep my eye on her, keep one hand on my gun, and I'm going to fiddle with my
This guy's going to shoot his wife.
my watch in my other hand, and say, so, how long have you been here?
Long enough to call your attention. I couldn't believe that I seen you sitting in some sort of rundown restaurant staring at a broken plate.
No, this isn't real. No.
Well, what makes it not real?
I need a second. I don't need you to be here for a second. No. This can't be. What's going on? Can I stand up hastily and walk outside?
Yeah. She does follow you from a distance, like, because she's concerned about you.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk?
What do you want to talk about?
Right now, my main concern is, are you okay? Because you seem extremely stressed at the moment.
How long has it been since you've seen me?
So, let's see. I can't remember what the amount of time was that we had decided on.
I can't remember either.
It's been a while.
I want to say it's been years.
Like two or 3 years.
I think we said 2 or 3, yeah.
So let's go 2. So she goes, well, about 2, I guess.
While all this is happening, I feel like the ticking of the clock or the stopwatch or whatever it is. I can't think of what the word is. Pocket watch. Thank you. The pocket watch is starting to increase as I'm getting more and more stressed about what's happening. I just no. I'm just gonna walk. Just keep walking. It's like
Okay.
It's just been in my own head for so long that it's just I can't fathom that it was this easy or this is actually happening. Like, I've been working towards this goal and then it's there, but it's not in the way that I expected it to be there.
She runs up and grabs your right hand with her left and holds it and turns you and looks you in the eyes, and she holds your hand with both her hands now. She's, my darling, what can I do to help you?
And
We can cut away from
yeah.
Okay, so
So I got a question. So
Okay.
all that food was fake?
that's the question right now. We got a man bleeding out. He doesn't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, but I'm just confused.
You're
Are
gonna
you
die
older than
any
him?
second.
Is your character older than him?
How old are you?
What did I put?
You're like 22. No, because you're doing practice, so like 26.
So he got through med school. He's got to be older than 22.
I'm older than him.
Yeah,
I'm
like
I'm
30s.
early 30s.
Yeah.
Kids,
So
man.
why don't we?
You're
You're not going anywhere, so we'll go to.
I was about to say, can I add something to it? I'm going to try and find one of these three and just like try to not ignore, but like if she's holding onto my hand, I'm going to drag her with me. But I'm going to try and find one of these three people.
She's
like,
trying to keep up as you're like doing the fast walk, and she's like, "Honey, where are we going?"
not now. I was just start talking to myself like this can't be happening. Like just like muttering under my breath like.
He's gonna like show up to one of you guys, like, "Can you see her?" It's you, and it's like, "What? Got a little bit of a problem here."
Who?
Okay, so let's cut to you. You're in your classroom at the moment.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Is it, this is evening, right?
Yes.
I guess I'm going through, I don't have the letter anymore. I don't have the pendant either, do I?
No.
Bray's got it.
Yeah. Guess I'm just sitting in my desk, maybe waiting for that shadowed figure to show up again. Staring at like the chairs or
Just
the rows of seats.
I'm gonna make- He does show up.
Same spot or different spot?
Same spot, same posture, leg crossed, all proper leg.
I'm just gonna look at him and I'm gonna go, what do you truly want with me? I'm a 75-year-old who's been teaching this class for however long, not retired. I don't know how many years I've got left. What do you want?
He smiles, looks away from you towards the board, and you hear in your head, he doesn't move his lips or anything like that, but you hear in his head a simple answer of, save the city, save the world.
At first I go, ah! You know, because he's in my head.
And he, like, after you kind of calm yourself down and hear the first two sentences, he says one more. Stop the war. Can't stop the bleed, but you can stop the war.
The war between the Pale Horse and Candela? What war are we talking about?
He fades away.
I smack my head on the table, or smack my hand on the table. Ugh! And I guess I get up and I leave the classroom. Maybe I just wander the halls of the university for a moment.
Okay. Doctor,
Is this the same day? Like,
from the bear mauling? Yes.
alright, well, I should still be sleeping
Okay.
under my desk. My assistant, I know I told her day off, but... What's your assistant's name? I'm just curious.
Kelly.
Kelly. Julie.
Actually, for the time, like, a Catherine would probably make most sense.
I'm gonna say Ruby. I don't know.
Ruby works too. Alright, so since
should
they're
be-
all moving at snail's paces, I guess we come back to you, who is laying on the ground, bleeding out, and it's starting to snow.
Well,
Gently.
nobody knows he's bleeding out.
100%, but nobody's making any big moves here. So we're back to you, and you're dying with the snow cascading around you. How?
I guess I try to get to my feet, and I would know where the red hand was located, correct?
The red hand? You would. In which case, you know that the closest one to your current position, as I still have yet to actually mark the map, and keep leaving my bookmark on the red hand. Let's see.
How much was the book?
The book is like $45.
Okay.
Talking about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you think Critical Role.
Yeah. You can find it at critroll.com. So
Merchandising!
yeah, it's all marketing, guys. So let's see. We said the Jade Palace was in the south soffit, right? So 10. You would know. There's one in the eaves that you can go to. So it's literally the next section of town that you're pretty close to. If you're wanting to move there with your injury, I'm gonna say, let's see, what do you got there?
They're gonna kill him.
Let's do a control for like keeping yourself up.
Okay.
At disadvantage too, because you're wounded. So we're gonna do a minus. No, not gonna do that.
Is that a -6?
Yeah, not gonna do that either. Oh, come on. You know what? We'll just say a -2.
Oh boy.
Okay. Then,
Nat 20.
trying to decide how I want to do this then. I'll just add, I'll add a drive to it then.
Okay.
You can burn a train, too. I don't know how intense this situation is.
I mean, he's dying, so.
No, it's true.
4 and a 3. And the 4 was the gilded.
Okay, so taking the 4, you begin to like balance yourself like you're about to fall over, but you're able to keep yourself up at the moment as you shuffle slowly down the empty sidewalk.
With a 2, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I actually forgot to take the 2, but you know that's my own punishment right there. But
Write your notes, DMs.
Why don't you? What was that?
I said write your notes.
Yeah. Why don't you make just a straight roll?
6.
It is indeed a 6. You come around the corner and you see him like up against like shuffling down, and like you're meeting him face to face.
Nathaniel, what's going on? Wait, before you answer that, do you see this person that's standing right next to me? I'm not dreaming.
Shut up, fool. You have to get me to the eaves. Take me to the red hand now.
We're going to deal with this later. If you just go home, I'm going to take my friend here to urgent care.
She goes, I actually may be able to help. And she comes over, puts one hand on your shoulder, and then another hand on your wound on your belly, and begins to heal it shut. Your wife is actually an occultist who is a member of Candela.
Oh.
Oh.
Fancy to have known that when we got married, but I guess we just have secrets.
This marriage has more problems than one. It's spiraling out of control. I don't even know you anymore.
That's a fancy trick you got there.
Thank you, madam. I appreciate it, but we must get to the red hand now. We need their assistance.
Okay.
You don't think Candela can be of any help?
At this point, I fear they may be compromised at the highest level.
Could I read what he just said? See if I can determine what he's talking about?
Yeah, because you don't even know yet.
I don't know.
Do you want to fill him in, or do you want him to make a read?
Do you want to waste your roll, or do you want me to tell you what happened?
Well, the thing is, the way that you say it feels like you don't trust her. I don't trust her either, so maybe either sidebarring or
I can step to the side
loop.
and fill him in about Bray's betrayal.
Okay, so she's like off, like standing by herself while you two are having like this awkward conversation. Like the whole like feeling between everything is awkward at the moment. So go ahead and like Nathaniel's words, tell him what happened.
I went to the precinct to fill in my captain about the bear attack, and he gave me a note. And
Is this the note?
that said that the amulet was in danger of being taken. So I figured I would go to Bray to alert him that there was someone making a move on the amulet, and it turns out he was the one making the move on the amulet. And when I gave him this information, he stabbed me in the stomach and left me for dead in the street.
So we've been getting played this entire time.
Yes. We've been giving powerful artifacts to the man who seeks nothing more than power itself.
I'm just going to stare into the snow and hear the ticking of the pocket watch for a while. And then, trying to bring myself back to reality. Say, that over there is a 2-year in progress, me trying to search for. That's my wife. I don't really trust her right now because that's the whole reason why I was doing this entire Candela thing. And if the man who promised me to find her is evil or is a backstabbing buckshank man, and she shows up as soon as you get stabbed, I don't.
It's a little bit of too much of a coincidence. I feel like.
So
yes.
We're gonna keep her out of the loop of things and
send her home.
Send her home. Yeah. So, do you want me?
You won't be able to stop Alan by yourselves.
Super hearing. Women.
You're not even having the conversation that far away from me, guys. Listen, we can settle our thing later. Hear me out. Alan went rogue on his own. Nobody higher than Alan is compromised.
I'm sorry, but Alan was my friend, and if he was able to turn and I can't trust him, I don't even know you. Why would you think I could trust you?
Because I want the same thing you do. I want this to end. I want this to stop. And I want things to be as normal as they possibly can be, because I have lived an abnormal life for over 2 years.
I'm going, after hearing that, I'm just going to go, and I'm going to run and try to find, I'm going to go find Albert and Mr. Buckingham.
Then I suggest you get your husband, get any resources we can from Candela. I'm still going to go to the Red Hand. They've allied with us in the past, and I believe they could help us at this time.
I do believe you're correct. So, you are followed by your wife to go get those two. Let's do that first. We'll come back to you. So, let's say... Okay, you go to the university first to find Albert T. So, you get there, and you see him yelling at an empty chair. Go ahead and start yelling at the empty chair.
Wait, you're supposed to be the one that's acting bizarre.
I know, that's what I was saying.
I just want things to go back to the way that they were. What? Monkey, what are you doing?
Something very important has come up, and we're needed to, I don't know, he didn't say where he was going, so I guess we're going to meet up with Buckingham, and we're going to take his car and drive around town for a little while.
Oh, that young whippersnapper. If he says he wants food... Wait, hold on. Who are you?
I'm Annie.
You're Annie?
His wife.
That's no time.
It's
don't listen to her. She
lovely
doesn't...
to meet you. Whoever you are.
I'm Albert.
Okay. So you were in a circle with Bray before.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just gonna run out the
she
door.
like flips your hand over and she starts like, how old are you?
Old as dirt. I'm 75.
Actually 77 it looks like by this line here.
Are you a tree?
Make the most of your time.
Good thing my ears have been good to me. All right, let's go. Let's straighten up, and then I guess we head out of the university.
And you would actually know because he did tell you he was trying to get to the red hand.
Yeah, I
So-
said I was going. We had to get to the eaves.
Yeah.
So, while you're headed to get him, we're back to you. You have made it outside of a like very posh palace, not palace, like hotel. That seems like a palace almost. It's a very nice tall building, almost like ahead of its time because this is like early 1900s, like 1907ish. But this is more like something you would have seen like in like 1920s, like gangster Chicago-ish type building. It's a really nice building, and you go in and you make your way to the basement where the Red Hand is like does some of their dealings in this area. And what do you do?
I find anyone that looks suspicious, and I'm going to assume they're part of the Red Hand, and I would approach them and say, listen, I'm with a group that has allied with you in the past. We've had similar goals. I know we are both striving to rid this town of the pale horse and the blight that they've brought upon us. I'll have some dire information I need to give to your superiors.
Okay, and it is at that moment, like you hear behind you, Oroha Tamakai, the guy that you have met in the past, go, Detective Carver,
Yes.
what seems to be the issue?
I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, and recently you sent some men after us to obtain an amulet. If you are willing to assist, I can give you the information on how to get said amulet.
Well,
I know who has it.
the difficult thing here is you, not you particular, but Candela, your organization has crossed me here as of late, and which is why the proprietor and myself have chosen to not, to pursue you again, I guess would be the actual correct term in this case, as far as trying to obtain that said pendant. And then he notices the blood on your shirt, and he's like, I take it you've had a very rough evening.
Not one you would enjoy, no.
And he begins to pace back and forth for a minute in silence, and he's rubbing his chin and he's thinking, and he's like, we will align with you, Dr. Carver. As far as Candela as a whole, that remains to be seen. But a wounded man comes with a certain earnesty.
Sorry.
He's gonna blow!
It is, I appreciate the offer that you are extending, and I will accept. The individual that you are seeking is Alan W. Bray. He has been tricking us all along, and in fact, we might have been willing to hand the amulet over to you had it not been for him. He was the one that led us to find it and instructed us to keep it away from you to give it to him. He's been playing us all for fools, and he is after absolute power. He's allied himself with the Pale Horse.
That's dangerous. Well, I would say that then you, nor your circle, nor Candela seems to be at fault. And Alan Bray is now a very dangerous individual.
Indeed.
The first thing that I suppose we need to do is to begin to gather a handful of people, unless he's going to be hard to find. I may know his whereabouts, but it may be best to keep people at a distance. I'm beginning to have an idea here. Is your circle on the way?
I sent one of the other members to rally them. Hopefully they should arrive shortly.
And at that, we're going to cut back to you guys. And you guys are now knocking, like he just did, on the door of one James Buckingham's doctor's office.
James, get up and no, this is not food.
Wait, is this the building or the office?
They'd be outside the building because you locked the door, I would imagine.
Oh, technically, my assistant is there, and they're still working. Like, they're still operating as a doctor's office.
I thought
It's the middle of the night!
Oh, wait, what?
Also, this is
of the night.
Oh.
this is also the same day that you gave her off. So
No, wait. I thought you said it was...
You're the worst boss
Dude.
ever.
My bad. I didn't know it was
Slave
night.
driver.
I didn't know it was the middle of the night. Okay, I thought it was still day, at least. Because that's what I thought you said. No. Alright, then I'll just get up. And, I guess head to the door. I'm gonna let them in, because my thing is in the back. So we'll just head to the back.
Okay. So as you guys come in, and Annie, how does this go down?
Thanks. We've been betrayed, and we're kind of gathering the people that we can trust right now to deal with the threat that now is been presented to us.
Who betrayed us?
And, we'll talk in the car, but we need your keys.
My keys.
And by keys, I need you to start up your car.
Alright, let's go. Watch your foot. The back door isn't there anymore.
Okay, so you guys, we'll say, get to where he's at in the eaves, and you guys are all now in the basement of this hotel.
While we're on the way over there, can I talk? I'm going to say to Annie, you know... Hold on. I need to put this back on. You know anything about phantom-like beings coming to visit you in the evening?
It can mean several things, yes.
Well, I had one show up in my classroom. That's what you guys came in and I was screaming at. Because I thought he was there. I guess maybe I was the only one who saw him. But he said that we can't stop the bleeding, but we need to win the war. What's that all about?
Well, that can be hard to do. Can't stop the bleed. I imagine he's meaning you can't stop things coming over from the flare, because that is something that Candela is learning more and more every day. As far as winning the war, perhaps stopping Bray. That's my best guess that I have, and honestly, yeah, we do need to stop Bray. I am honestly terrified at the moment.
This dude's got to get... He's got to get got. He's got to be put down. So is there... Can I help you? I'm talking to her.
Go ahead.
Okay. So are we in a war right now? Or is there a war on the doorstep with Alan?
Well,
I thought this man could be trusted, and I was questioning him from the beginning, and apparently I was right.
I feel like you think everybody's against you, but that's a whole nother thing.
Just keep telling me the things I need to hear, and we'll be okay, alright?
I'd say the war has already begun. I think the war had started prior to even your friend being stabbed and left for dead.
Did you tell me that Nathaniel was stabbed?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Why not? I said I'd explain it in the car.
That's true. Okay, so I guess we'll just realize that you did. So, yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, Nathaniel got stabbed.
So, with that, we have arrived and we are now heading into the basement. Aroha Tamakai goes, well, now that you're all here, what I can gather from this is things are very, very bleak at the moment. Because presumably, if Alan has not been handing things over, and from what has happened with our dealings in the past, we had recently thought it was Candela that had been putting things, like not doing what they had said that they would do. But in fact, it had been Alan who had not been doing what he said he would do. Where have you guys been meeting? Let's start there.
Jade Palace.
A place that's been condemned for like 15 years?
I believe somehow Bray had cast an illusory spell of some sort and made us believe it was a functioning restaurant.
Wow. That's, I knew Bray had quite a few spells up his sleeve, but that's something else. So he can bend reality.
It would seem as so.
Like you just hear Albert go, I know he shouldn't be trusted.
You definitely have us for assistance. I do think, because of the way ley lines are in the area, and the way everything is, he is more than likely going to be in the Scarlet Woods. There's several magical beings that have been buried there. There's been several flare happenings, and so one would be safe to guess that is where he was headed. We can station people a ways out, but I think it would be best if his circle approached him. Being that he was your lightkeeper, I think you guys can get close and potentially diffuse this without it getting out of hand.
I don't know about that. He stabbed Nathaniel. Either way, he knows we're coming to, end him. So, I don't know.
We're not going out without a fight.
Wait, so he was behind the entire thing the entire time? Did he kill the widow's husband?
You don't know to this
We
point.
may have a bit of an element of surprise on our side. He knows that I know that he's turned. But he doesn't know if the three of you know.
I think he'll know that I know because you're healed.
If I don't show my face,
But
if I stay a little ways back and the three of you approach him, we might be able to get the drop on him.
I think especially because you crazy old man, never. I think it would go perfect.
That's my personal pronoun is crazy.
Crazy man.
I mean, you and Alan have a relationship from the past. You might be able to use that to get close to him.
Could do that.
Oh, and you should make a potion, put it in your pocket, and
Don't-
then get close to him and just shove it in his chest.
Don't you worry about my potion there, okay, son? I turn from James and I look at what's the red hand member's name? Aroha. I go, now, me being old, I do tend to forget a lot of things. But I do have this, and I reach into my jacket and I pull out, this is actually from the first mission, which are ingredients from a ritual that was to summon creatures from the flare to our plane. And I want to give this to him and say, I don't know if this pertains to anything that Alan's doing, or if you have any kind of information on this, but does this somehow relate in some way, shape, or form? Is he doing this?
I am more of an expert in artifacts than actual spells and how to decipher these things.
I give it to Annie.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say I was going to hand it to Amy. So she looks at it and she actually points to a sigil and she goes, "Have you seen this one before?" And you have. It was the sigil that was in the bear's eye.
I've seen that.
This is to summon several different types of creatures. I know of the bear that you all stopped. That's why I actually came looking for Joe, because that was the first time that I had seen that he had become a member of Candela. But this is he can summon more than just this. The ingredients and everything else that is written down on this, he has enough to wake many dead, very powerful people, let's say.
So he could be doing this, or he could have been doing this for a while.
And Aroha said he was headed possibly to the woods where many dead things, powerful dead things, were buried.
Who's to say he hasn't summoned all the creatures here himself?
Idea. Hear me out.
This is about food.
No. That's after the fight. We get some food. Hear me out. We get in the car. We just drive. Either one, I run him over, or two, I drive by. You throw your bomb and you two shoot your guns at him.
First thing we gotta do is find him.
He's in the woods, so he'll find us.
Here,
But we can run him over.
You do bring up a good question. How are we going to keep you hidden from Alan?
Put him in his trunk. Or you can just lay him out in the back. Whatever.
Well, I can guarantee you, your car's not going to make it to Alan. That's going to be a on-foot thing.
Okay.
Now, as far as keeping him hidden, he can stay out of sight in the woods.
I have an idea. Let's pretend he's dead. Be like, hey, he died. We don't know what happened.
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, what are we supposed to do without?
So then we
Nathaniel?
just mysteriously found Alan in the woods
No, because
and tell him that Nathaniel's dead.
yeah,
We got some tips.
yeah, we got some tips
From who?
from the. Then we say like someone from Candela told us from the office that he used to work at. They said you were here. We came to give you, find out what's gonna happen because Nathaniel's dead, or he could just hide. He could hide, and we could be like, hey, Nathaniel's dead now. We could ask if he needs any more help on a mission. Wait, we get close to him. Bam.
What do you think, Nathaniel?
I'm not entirely certain. I would say whatever idea you come with, it has to be solid. Alan's very intuitive. He's very smart. He will not be deceived easily. It is possible he might believe that you found me and it was too late for you to save me. That might be with the best narrative, because then his secret would die with me.
I think it's best if I'm the one who approaches Alan when we set up some sort of trap.
You've worked with him for like 70 years, so it's okay.
What?
Not
70 years.
He's known him
It's
for 5.
it's like yeah. Because the circle of the Shattered Nail was what, 8 years ago?
5.
5. Okay, 5.
$5 foot long.
And then the Circle of the Withered Heart was
Shortly after mine.
before. It was 2 years before.
Oh. Okay.
So, is that our plan then? Is like for us to like get somewhat close and then you to get all the way close?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys drive out to the Scarlet Woods in the middle of the night. It's almost the witching hour at this point, and the Red Hand does what they said, and they stay to the almost perimeter exterior of the woods with several people, and even a few Candela circles have showed up Not necessarily anybody that you would have known, because Candela is very secretive, and so like the circles don't ever exactly fully overlap or have much knowledge of each other. So we get you guys in a little bit closer into, like, you guys begin to go into the woods, and as you do, you go a good distance. You go.
Before we go into the woods, I'm gonna craft my chemical concoction. Can I do 2 instead of 1? And sacrifice something for that?
What do you want to sacrifice? Like, what are you willing to offer?
An eyeball.
No.
A hip.
No. I'm willing to offer a hide.
For 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to let you know right now what they are. I rolled a 1 and a 5. So that's an
a sleeping
acidic
powder.
and a sleep-inducing.
Very cool.
What's the 5?
Sleep-inducing.
What's the
Put
1?
him to sleep.
Acidic.
Pour acid on top of it.
Oh.
Good night.
With that, you guys go 4 miles into the woods. I imagine that feeling of loneliness and helplessness begins to overcome you guys as you see candles alight in front of you. And you hear a low whispered chanting in the voice of Alan W. Bray. This is about the area where most of you hang back, and you come in to the circle, essentially behind Alan. And when you do, his like quiet chanting stops, and he goes, "I counted 10 feet. Why are there only 2 within the circle?"
I think it's time that we have a talk.
Before you start talking, he begins to tell you a story. I grew up outside of New Fair. A woman named Abigail rescued me and my brothers and sisters. She took us to this cabin in the middle of nowhere. It was freedom, but even the greatest freedom comes with a price. She told us, "Beware of the man in the woods, for he is real and he is the eater." So one day, me and my brothers, we take our slingshots and we go rabbit hunting like we do. We started to hear something strange. At first, we passed it off as a bear. As time passed, the bear, or what we thought was a bear, started to get louder and louder. It let out these sad howls. My brothers, they started to run. I, myself must admit, for a second I was afraid. But I was more intrigued than anything else. I dropped my slingshot and I started moving closer and closer towards the sound. I got so close at one point the sound started to radiate in my ears and hurt. And that is when I saw it. He was about 7 foot tall, walking upright, no pigment in his skin. He was as pale as a pearl. He had thin yellow hairs running all the way down to his knees. Okay, there we go. He was carrying an alligator with one hand, dragging it across the beach line. I prayed. I prayed that he wouldn't see me. I said, "Abigail, please forgive me. Forgive me for not paying attention to you." That's when he looked at me. His eyes were yellow like a cat. Still, I stayed frozen in fear. It was just then he reaches out his hand, and in the middle of it was my slingshot. I started to run as fast as my legs could take me. I continued to run for what felt like an eternity. Finally, the cabin was back in my sight. I sprinted through the door, and I was in a panic. I ran straight to Abby's room, and I said, "Abby, I'm so sorry." She said, "Baby Bray, what is wrong?" I said, "I saw him. I saw the man in the woods. I thought it was a lie, but you were telling the truth the whole time. I'm so sorry. She said, baby Bray, baby. What did he say to you? What? He didn't say anything. Matter of fact, all he did, he looked right at me with his eyes as if he was staring right through me. And he held out his hand, and Abby, in his hand was my slingshot. Inside, I was wondering why she was so calm right now. She said, baby, don't you understand, Bray? It's his slingshot, too. You are the man in the woods. Then, at this moment, I need all of you guys to make straight rolls at a disadvantage.
With a -2?
-2.
So I just roll 1 dice.
That is a 0 for me.
Okay. With a disadvantage, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
-1.
Alright.
What's the
Minus
minus 2? 2.
0.
I rolled a 4, but I subtracted
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Can I say something to Alan?
Not at this moment, but in a moment I will
Okay.
allow you to. Are you going to make your roll?
I did. I said 0.
Oh, it's a 0? I
Yeah.
didn't hear you. I was paying attention to the other ones. Okay, so at that moment, you are all sieged, and you are all now brought into the circle, including Amy. And you are all on your knees at this moment. And Bray stands up and turns around and looks at you all and begins to say, So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death. And Hades followed with him, and power was given to them over 1/4 of the earth, and to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. I am the man in the woods. I am the pale horse. And at that moment, we are going to take a break and end this session. Hey everyone, we had just a few extra minutes to discuss a few things from our game of Candela Obscura, and so wanted to take this opportunity to explain a few things, maybe explain a little bit about the game and whatnot. But first of all, we wanted to thank seernova for allowing us to be a part of the seernova Comic Con 24. It's been a ton of fun for us to put these videos together and stuff. We started playing this campaign a couple of months ago, and we just played once a month, and ended up having to take October off. But then we got to the con, or time to pre-record for the con, and we basically had to wrap the game up so we combined session 3 and 4 together. And seernova Comic Con, or seernova, really was just very generous with the time that they allowed us, and we're super thankful. That being said, the actual game is Candela Obscura, made by Critical Role, or Darrington Press, and it's a very fun game. It's a very different tabletop role-playing game from like Dungeons and Dragons, or even Call of Cthulhu, any of them. It sets itself apart. It's a ton of fun to play, and one of the first things you might have noticed was we were all only getting 6s as our like highest rolls. That's because what you use in Candela is only d6s, or 6-sided dice, something that you would find in like a game of Monopoly or some other big game. It's not done with polyhedral dice. It's just 6-sided dice, and you need about 9 of them. If you can scrounge up 9, or Dollar Tree usually has one, like a package of them for like that has like 12 in it for $1. Well, no longer $1, but they're still pretty cheap. Now we have our dice, so you can print off a PDF form that has all of the original Candela classes that you can play, and they break it down into roles and specialties. So your roles, you have Scholar, you have Muscle, you have Face, you have Weird, and you have Slink. So for Scholar, it breaks down into two other like classes, essentially, which they call specialties. So you have a professor and you have a doctor. And then your muscle is soldier and explorer. Your face is magician and journalist. Yes. And then Slink is criminal and detective. Weird is medium and occultist. Now, our two homebrewed roles are industry and creative. Sorry, my brain blanked there for a second on my own stuff. So, with industry, you have architect and you have mechanic. I wanted to give more of like a brainy side, and I wanted to give more of like a like technical side. And then for creative, you have musician and you have novelist, which Joe Monkey is. And we will get more into the novelist class in a discussion later on with Joe Monkey that will be released after the con on its own thing on Paladin's Maledict's YouTube page. So if you're not following us on YouTube, please go over there, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you. Now, how you do things in the game is very... At first, whenever you're starting to play the game, it almost feels limited. And the reason why I say it feels limited is because you only have 3 of something. So the different moves you have are lumped into 3 categories. You have nerve, you have cunning, and you have intuition. So under your nerve, you have move, strike, and control. Move is more like your run, dodge, navigate. Strike is more like a punch, break, knockdown. Control is like your drives, shoots, those kinds of things. They use the word finesse. I used control a couple of times in the game in scenarios where you weren't driving, you weren't shooting, but it was very much like you had to maintain control, for lack of a better term, over something that was going on in a situation. And your GMs that might be doing this game for your friends, you can do that. And that's the cool thing is okay, so say in a high stress situation, I'm trying to explain the game as best as I can here, and so hopefully I'm doing an okay job. During a high stress situation where they're rolling multiple dice like we did, perhaps you want to make it more difficult than just a 6. Instead of like calling it a 12 or something like that, you could say in your mind, you don't have to tell them out loud what you want the roll to be, but you could be like, okay, for this to be successful, because this is a high stress situation, we're going to add up 2 dice. So in your head you can be like, okay, you need a 6 and you need, 2 6s would be an automatic success, because the way that works is a 6 is a success, 4 and 5 is a mixed success, meaning there's some sort of punishment along with the reward, and then 1 through 3 is just you failed. And you can even scale that if you wanted to. So if you did a 1, you failed even more miserably than what you would have at a 3. Sorry if you feel like I'm bouncing around. I'm not trying to, but the dice are very much related to your actions that you can do in the game that we are discussing now, because you roll to see how well you succeeded on your action. And you're limited to only 3 of each. So you have 3 moves, 3 strikes, 3 controls. And then, like, for cunning, you have sway, read, and hide. So sway is very much your convince, command. You're trying to persuade somebody. It would be like persuasion in that other tabletop role-playing game. Read is like you're trying to like see the body language, maybe face mannerisms, different things about the situation. Tell if they're lying, things like that. Hide, it's considered a sleight of hand, which happens very often in this circle of Candela, which was so much fun. Joe, like Tim as Joe, did an amazing job like hiding with his character, which was very much fitting for the role he was trying to play with the novelist. Then for intuition, you have survey, which is like search and track, spotting different things. Focus, you're inspecting, you're analyzing, you're trying to remember something. Doing the remember something, I wish I would have done more of that in this game, but like I definitely did, like inspecting and analyze. Just looking back and kind of like picking apart what we did for this game in particular. Since attune, channel, reveal. That could be a lot of fun for like being an occultist and you're like trying to gather information like through the ethereal and different things. Just again trying to help you kind of figure out how you could play this game with your friends. So you now know like how you can move and everything, but again, back to the multiple dice. How does that work? You have what is called drives, which are these little, if this paper would agree with me, these little squares here. You, while building the character, you would fill those out, and that would determine how many dice you get for those specific things. And then you can take a guild, which a guild allows you to get a dice back if you were to pick the gilded dice. And how that works is, say I was rolling these 3 dice, okay? My 2 darker colors, my brown and my red, are my regular dice. My green is my gilded. Okay, so then say I roll a 1 on the gilded, I rolled a 2 and a 1 in there. So this is, I'm failing. Which actually we can use another example right here. But say I keep these rolls, and I take the 1 on the gilded so I can get my extra dice back. Essentially, is how that works. But there's another thing in Candela called resistances. The resistance, so like whenever we have said like I'd like to burn a resistance, this is what we're doing. We're getting the opportunity to re-roll, which is what a resistance is. You burn that resistance, you take your dice, you re-roll, and you still fail, apparently. So I got a 2 and a 3, and since I'm failing either way, I'm going to take the 2 on the gilded so I can get an extra dice back for another time to where hopefully I won't fail. So that's kind of how the game works. The way damage works, as we begin to wrap this up, is they're called marks. So you have body, brain, and bleed. And once you get 3 marks of body, or 3 marks of brain, or 3 marks of bleed, not just 3 marks total, but 3 in one particular category, you get a scar from that category. And so obviously like a brain scar would be more like mental trauma, body would be something physical, and then bleed would be like I think we did it a couple of different ways, and I left it up to like some interpretation in the game where it could be a mental or it could be a physical or maybe even a little bit of both, but usually it leaves some sort of like magical physical attribute. And so that is where like the real cool creative stuff comes in. This game is very much role play oriented, like more so than any other game that I have played. But even though it's very, very much like role play focused, there's a lot of strategy that goes into it with moves and everything like that. So I highly recommend this game. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next circle after this, because we are going to continue this on starting in January. So you can look for more Candela by Paladin's Maledict then. So yeah, really don't have a whole lot more to elaborate on. I hope this general explanation of the game might help you play it with your friends. We also have more Candela stuff, like how to play the game and whatnot, on our Paladin's Maledict YouTube. You can check us out on podcasts, get caught up on the Circle of the Oriental Express on our YouTube channel or our podcast channel. Just search Paladin's Maledict or Maledict Obscura, and man, I can't thank you guys enough. And don't forget, tomorrow the PDF of our homebrewed classes, the industry and the creative, will be available, so you too can play as an architect, a mechanic, a novelist, or a musician. That being said, see you guys tomorrow right here for the final day of the Seernova Comic Con 2024. Yeah!